And if you take a look just right above me, you should see it there on the wall, lit up. And I'm kind of going to tell you why, the reason behind it, which is several. And for one thing, it's a larger screen, and because my eyesight's not getting what it used to be, so a lot of times I find a hard time squinting at the monitor, so I actually got to get up close to it and compare sharpness, color, contrast, and all that. It's really hard to do, so that's one reason, larger screen. Another second reason is color calibration. Often I do my own exposure and color correction and color grading, and I've been finding the current monitors I'm using, which are pretty good, some of them are quite old. I've been finding when I do color correction and then I put it on YouTube or other monitors, it tendency to be too dark, too bright, and so on. So I wanted a far better, accurate monitor. Of course, LG is a great brand as far as screens. Let me go ahead and give you some specs on this. It is obviously a 29-inch diagonal, ultra wide, meaning it's going to be much more wider than comparative monitors, even in one used normally every day, and which is actually most we're used to seeing is usually around 16 by 9. This one happens to be 21 by 9, and with a resolution of 2560 by 1080. So I'm pretty much maintaining the 1080p that I currently use. I'm not going to 4K anytime soon. Still have quite a ways to go before that happens. Most of my semi-professional video cameras, the Canon C100 and the XF100, currently max out on 1080p anyway, so I decided to just keep with that 1080p monitor. Let me go. Also, the color accuracy is quite good. It actually came up with a factory calibration test, just showing what it's calibrated to, which you can go back to factory defaults, which is great as far as color correction is concerned. And it does maintain an sRGB of 99% color accuracy, which is what I'm looking for. Now, really, this monitor is kind of designed more for gaming on many aspects, but it does say that it is great still for photographers, graphic designers. It doesn't really say videographers, but as long as it has enough color accuracy for me, it should be more than enough for what I use it for. And a couple other reasons, like I said, since I mainly use that monitor and I use it with a Mac Pro 2013 model, and so when I do video editing, as you can see, I've got it up right now, my Final Cut Pro 10. I can leave most of the tools open. Before, I used to have to, since the monitor was much smaller, I had to turn a lot of things off. So I basically had to go turn on and off depending on what I needed. So now I can keep most of them open without having to switch back and forth. That was kind of a big pain. I can leave my video monitors on all the time as I'm grading, which is great. And then pretty much have the whole timeline open. Before, I used to have to scroll back and forth to get to certain portions of the timeline. Now I don't have to do that. It's ultra wide. It has everything available to me. Makes me much more productive, which is great. It does have two HDMI inputs, DVI and DisplayPort. Now, the DisplayPort, if you're going to a Mac computer, you're going to need an adapter that goes to a mini DisplayPort. For Apple, most connections are mini DisplayPort. I'm trying to think here. Now, currently I just have an HDMI input, probably because I didn't have a DisplayPort to mini DisplayPort cable ready, but it seems to work just as great. And since I do use, I'm trying to also use DaVinci Resolve 12.5, It does support, like I said, dual graphic cards, which I do have in there. Usually it's paid only on their studio version to use dual graphic cards, but since I have the 2013 Mac Pro, it does enable both graphic cards to use in DaVinci Resolve. So that's excellent, as long as it's going into DVI. If you use a DisplayPort or dual monitor, then it won't work. So I do love it for currently what it used for. One of the worst aspects of this monitor is the stands, and most stands, I think, on a lot of monitors really suck big time, and this one is probably the worst I've had, considering you can't really adjust the angle very much. They only give you two angles, I believe, 100 degrees and 120. So instead of being exact, I usually like my monitors exactly at least 90 degrees or slightly angled up. This one actually angles downward, makes it much harder to use, so I actually got to stick something underneath the stand to raise it to the appropriate angle. Height I'm not so much worried about, so I basically had to throw the stand away, and I do have, at least it features a universal wall mount that you can't put it on, which I've already had, and I have it mounted on the wall, so I don't have to worry about angles or height. Mostly angles I was worried about. Something that really need to improve in most monitors and or TVs is basically the stands suck on most of them, and that's how they cut corners, making money. I remember one monitor really had a great stand. Any height and angle you wanted, it was all spring loaded, so it would actually move it and stay whatever position you wanted it. So that's my thoughts on this monitor, and tell me what you think, and thank you.